My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state. And it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This is the entity that was monitoring my genitalia, flying right over the apartment. They were monitoring my genitalia while the demon in 55 moved her amplified audible activity over the shower room. While the public information of my being in the shower room, they're walking in engineer light. Remember, you see two bodies, but they've got four shadows. They're monitoring in engineer light with the police, with the demon that's in 55 above, while the demons are inside of their apartments in relevant position, while they're monitoring in violation of Title 18, everything that I'm typing on my phone, including the fact that unemployment is a means of financing and providing for the public corruption of gang stalking in the state of California, where those that do not have a job sit under the fake sun that's rising and setting at the same address, creating what is a demonic means of audible activity in engineer light, their mental instability, their sexual violence, and the impunity with which they do it while they are able to sit at home while the government relies on their criminal engagement in that sexual violence. As I type that out, the demons that were monitoring my genitalia in the shower, monitoring what I type about it, fly right over me at the moment that I open the door. Understand there's no coincidence there. This is the demon again, 5WUB715. She's going to a mental asylum, and so is this one. This is the entity that's conspiring to murder and profit off of your murder while practicing psychological torture in sexually motivated ways, sexually perverted methods that are intended to torture someone while they conspire to murder, kidnap, and also profit off of it. That's the Ontario Police Department. That's what Mike Lorenz, that's what Paul Leon is engaged in, and they do so with impunity. The sexual violence that the government is practicing through the demons who are the people of the state, practicing sexual violence as an entity, is exactly why they're going to asylums and they're going to prison. This is ongoing impunity because this is audible activity in engineer light. This is where the entity is rising and setting the sun. This is where an entity is relying on a demon-possessed population to maintain surveillance in a shower, which you need to know only sex offenders engage in that. And only psychopaths engage in stalking someone in a shower and using helicopters to do so while they witness you documenting it. That is to report, that is to prosecute, that is to enforce your rights against that state. This is going to the federal government, people. Okay, Paul Leon, this is an exposed sex offender. This is an exposed psychopath, not different from the condition of those that are gang stalking at the venue, where the fake sun is rising and setting. Look at the evidence. Everything that I'm stating is established by evidence. These are indeed demons obsessed with genitalia that they're monitoring, doing so in a shower, and then hostile, threatening your life, threatening your safety and well-being because you document. That's the impermissible threat. This is exactly why the Ontario Police is being disbanded. This is exactly why Paul Leon and the rest of the demons that are sitting on a corrupt board are going to be removed, impeached, unseated, Their sexual proclivities are hereby being exposed while they finance terrorism and sexual violence as an entity, while unemployed senior citizens sit at home all day gang stalking somebody else in an entirely circus environment, a fake sun rising and setting. And the engineer light that you see inside of this apartment, as I've already done. And those whose name you know are participating in that sexual violence, and they do so with impunity. There are federal consequences for everything that I continue to document. It's currently 6:34 p.m. You're going to tether this to the documentation that I'm typing in real time in the PDF document that I continuously upload on a daily basis, WSA-the people, because this entire property is being prosecuted, and the demons in units 33 through 64 are all going to federal prison. The demons in units 51 and 55 are going to mental asylums. The demons who are the Ontario Police Department, they're going to produce literally their names to the federal government, because they too are going to prison and mental asylums, and the Ontario Police is no more. They're going to be disbanded. They are gang members who are violent sex offenders who are currently wearing badges and bearing weapons while they engage in gang activity, not law enforcement. And they do so and encourage it and facilitate it. Facilitation, a separate federal offense that the city of Ontario is going to be prosecuted for, while they use helicopters to do so. It is currently 6:35 p.m. This is documentation of what is bathroom monitoring, the perpetual sex offense. This is the same entity that's engaging in human trafficking. This is the same entity that's monitoring as an entity in the private space. Those demons that were walking, not coincidentally, in the path in engineered light, while the demons are flying over, not coincidentally, in the path, while the demons are stalking. This one right here above, monitoring everything that I type on the phone, engaging in more of that which I'm typing as I type it in real time, arriving to be in the apartment to maintain the elements of monitoring, pacing all around. These are the cockroaches who are demon possessed, who are inclined to sexual violence, pedophilia, sex trafficking of minor children, rape, all manner of that which is not consented to, while they are targeting American citizens. This is giving voice to it, and it is literally the shutdown of the city of Ontario. It's currently 6:36 p.m. Again, the demon, this is the Caucasian, the bleach blonde, who does not have a job and who is being paid to sit at home, gang stalking an American citizen. And this sex offender, this psychopath, is going to a mental asylum, but she is illustrative of what is the condition and the criminal system of a population. All immigrants, all gang stalking immigrants are going to be deported, as the population in Ontario, California is thoroughly prosecuted. Those are gang stalking immigrants who are violent sex offenders who share in the impunity that the entity exhibits, while gang stalking by the population, gang stalking by the city of Ontario using helicopters. All gang stalking immigrants are out of this country. It's currently, again, 6:37 p.m. This is P.O.C. at Woodside Senior Apartments. Who is that?
Pete. Pete.
Hi, Erica.
Say hi, Erica.
That's okay.
All right. Okay.
It is 7 p.m. That is the same Tommy Allen Banks who knows that he's been documented. So the Ontario International Airport at 6:59 p.m. is a means of amplification while Tracy Banks enters into the apartment. All of this is in ILA in concert with the demon in unit number 55, who was amplifying audible activity of a demon pacing directly above my head, while Tommy Allen is on speakerphone, which is also audible activity on a communication device. He's both gang stalking as he satisfies the elements of monitoring. He's also engaged in gang stalking via the means of communication devices. This is a means of surveillance on Tracy Banks's phone. And remember, these demons are monitoring on my phone. And so while I literally just type the following, which I'm going to read, the demon goes out of his way to speak to me in order to monitor. And with regard to demons speak, let me translate this for you. This is how a demon is exhibiting a malicious means of showing hostility, because he knows exactly what I just documented. And so does Tracy Banks, and so does the city of Ontario, and so does Eric Spencer, who's not physically here. They know everything that's being on my phone. So let me just type this. It's currently 7:01 p.m. I just typed right now about this third party who you hear in the background saying, "Hi, baby girl," and he's engaged in a kidnapping in August of 2019. And that's exactly what I just typed seconds ago while she is on the phone with him, and then comes back in as a means of monitoring me with him by putting him on speakerphone and addressing me while he is engaged in the pattern of conduct with the same entity with whom he engaged in kidnapping as an entity. He crossed state lines in doing so. This is what I typed about. This is the WSA-the people. While the demon, again, in unit number 55, license 5WUB715, she's going to a mental asylum. This is the state of California, the people of the state who are going to be prosecuted for the this is desperation. This is what Satan is doing when they're desperate. But this is exposing the public safety concern of the mentally ill who don't want to be identified for their systematic means of literally murdering American citizens, kidnapping them, discarding them from society while they target them. I am exposing it, and you're witnessing the desperation of the demon-possessed who are very mentally unstable, and they engage in, at this point, what you're witnessing is the inevitable consequences for the criminal acts that they engage in, the criminalization of every demonic method that they employ, and they're showing the desperate levels to which they continuously engage in it, which is also speaking to high levels of mental instability. And it is shared while you hear a demon who knows that he's been documented on my phone, my device, engaging in what is saying hi to me, while knowing that I'm documenting him. And this is shared by Tracy Banks. This is shared by the demon in Unit 55. And remember, I've already established that these are demons, and this is a demonic environment, and they maintain real-time knowledge. That's a method of psychological torture, in other words. While a demon whose name you know, who's in your family, engages in violating you, engages in gang stalking you, engages in kidnapping you, you document it, and then they say hi to you with a smile on their face. This is what Tracy Banks, seeking to profit from my murder, does on a daily basis. Okay, so this is what Tommy Allen Banks just engaged in. He is documented in the folder entitled The People of the State. If you go to the website, this is the POC.wordpress.com. If you click on look, the folder look under documentation, 2024, you will see large so that the world can see it, all the people of the state whose name I know. And again, that's not everyone that I know, but those that have been engaged in the pattern of conduct as to the degree to which Tommy Allen Banks has. And you will see him. He's an African American. He's in North Carolina or South Carolina. He's in one of the Carolinas. And this is what I documented about him, which this psychopath knows. He's a violent sex offender, literally by criminal record. He has been prosecuted for sexual violence. He's literally served time in jail. It's not a coincidence that he was married to Tracy Banks, a violent sex offender engaged in human trafficking. This is seeking to profit off of placing cameras inside of my apartment that I had no knowledge of. And so this is, again, not a mother, but this is somebody that is maliciously in the position of a mother. This is who Satan is using. This is demonic, your spiritual enemy, those who are blood related to you. Also, literally your enemy while gang stalking you as a third party and smiling in your face while doing so, placing cameras inside of your dwelling place where you live, unbeknownst to you, so that the world that is gang stalk, the entity that's gang stalking you, can do so, and the world watches. This, I want to be clear, this is voyeurism, deriving pleasure out of watching another suffer, doing so on placing you on websites in order so that the entity, not only the entity that's gang stalking you, using those cameras in order to watch you inside of your apartment while they're engaging in stalking in helicopters under the fake sun amongst the population. This is what was happening at Alvarado Gardens, and this is the same entity in Ontario, California. But I want to be clear, the entity is doing so while placing you on websites where they are making money. This is human trafficking. All right. You are being trafficked without your will. It is a method of force while they're violating your reasonable expectation of privacy. You don't know that your nude body is being exposed and that people are making money off of it. People all over the world, they get onto these websites with the intent to see things of a sexual nature, which you have not consented to, and you don't even know knowledge about it, and the entity is targeting you, and you don't have a way of escaping that targeting system. This is indeed human trafficking by an entity that is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. That is who Tommy Allen Banks is talking to on the phone. Tracy Banks, not a mother, and Tommy Allen Banks is not, he's nothing other than a malevolent actor who was demon possessed as well. They were married and engaging in sexual violence against me as a minor child. He has literally been convicted of sexual crimes. He's served time in a facility for that when I was a child, and this is exposing what they've been engaging in sexual violence together as demon possessed parents who have been targeting me since I was a kid. I didn't even know it, but I've been subject to this. Now, I want to be clear, what I documented on my phone right now, these sex offenders are gang stalking with this psychopath that's chasing her tail directly above me on the couch. This is the sex offense that they engaged in while the police were hovering in helicopter above, because the gang members who are the Ontario police are very consumed with and concerned about my genitalia, my legs being spread open, my washing, my body, my nude body being in that private space, knowing that I don't have any clothes on, knowing that I am in the shower. All of that private information is public amongst the entity, including the demon Tracy Banks, who was obsessed with my genitalia, who was consumed with everything concerning me, including my nudity, including my genitalia, and so was Tommy Allen Banks. You need to understand that the demon possessed are very much consumed in that which is sexually deviant, sexually perverted, and they derive pleasure, and they also are under the illusion, Satan makes sex offenders and psychopaths and stalkers, that they are deriving some sort of spiritual power from doing so, and all they're doing is violating innocent children, violating unsuspecting American citizens, and that's the criminalization for their practicing witchcraft. And this is the government. Understand, Tommy Allen Banks is a third party acting with the state, regardless of the fact that he is across state lines using federal stalking as a means of engaging in the elements of monitoring. He does so with the intent to psychologically torture while the demon is running in circles above me on the couch, just like she was running above while I was in the shower. This is the sex offender following from room to room. This is at the venue where the fake sun is rising and setting. Okay, this is understanding all of it. I literally typed moments ago. I'm reading the document that is entitled WSA-The People. Let's see. Demons acting with Tracy Banks on her communication device at 6:55 p.m., including Tommy Allen Banks, in parentheses, Pete Banks. He engaged in kidnapping by entity, criminal defamation, and psychological torture with the City of Ontario and Tracy Banks. Eric C. Spencer on August 6, 2019. He engages in the same system today, and I'm referencing today, December 30, 2024, as the demon above in Unit 55, who is continuously doing so right now. This is monitoring evidence that belongs to the federal government. That's the unlawful intrusion, obstruction of justice of an ongoing federal investigation, by the way. That's what they're doing when they're monitoring the evidence. The entity is doing so as the demon in 55 is pacing around like a sick, rabid dog. And Tracy Banks paces around inside of the apartment with her communication device. This is Title 18, a means of gang stalking and engaging in the elements of monitoring, while the demons are hovering above the apartment building in helicopter, pacing in alignment in commercial planes. They're all doing so in what is abnormal light, engineered light. These are demons who are engaging in the elements of monitoring. They're gang stalking. And they're also gang stalking the prosecutor, by the way. This is very imprudent, unwise. This is showing the mental illness, however, while this imprudent conduct, while this exhibiting what is impunity while doing so. And when you're going to prison, you're going to asylum, you're not going to escape that, and you continuously do so. They're exposing their mental instability while psychological torture is underway. This is the government that's engaging in psychologically torturing one whom they have conspired to murder, to kidnap, and to profit from it. This is exactly what Tracy Banks also has engaged in with those who are quote unquote family members, sharing in this criminal system, the intent, the conspiracy, which is already established by her criminal conduct. She's put herself in the asylum while her criminal acts, which is directly relevant, showing a motive as to why she's gang stalking me, who she's gang stalking me with, and the ways in which she has sought to establish the quote unquote paperwork. This is public corruption, where you are using the courts as a means of trying to establish that somebody is mentally incapacitated, so that you can have things such as power of attorney, or establishing that you are incapable of taking care of yourself, so that you can establish that you are in a position to absorb any of that target individual's property, or anything that would remain as that target individual's property were they to die, for example. This is while those actors and the government itself are gang stalking that targeted individual. Things such as life insurance when you're gang stalking that targeted individual. This is how third parties like the ones you hear, who are again acting as a malicious, this is not a genuine family, this part of the organized crime in California, and doing so while crossing state lines, like this third party who you heard on the communication device, crossing state lines with the intent to place another under surveillance. He also crossed state lines with the intent to engage in criminal defamation and kidnapping as an entity, and also does so while you hear this phone conversation with knowledge that it's being documented. There are no coincidences under the fake sun and an engineered light where the government is engaging in the hallmark, which is stalking by helicopter. Okay, it is currently 7:10 p.m. He is subject to federal prison. This is literally a prosecuted, a convicted sex offender that's engaging in the sex offense of federal group stalking and monitoring, and doing so with impunity. Noted, detailed impunity is what I continuously capture. AVANATH Capital Management is sharing in this criminal engagement in that pattern of conduct, which is also psychological torture. A company is going to be prosecuted for psychological torture, engaging in what is the purpose of gang stalking while they conspire to murder and kidnap you. They do so while seeking to establish means whereby they can profit off of it. That is, again, fake death certificates, insurance policies, seeking to establish you as being one that is mentally or psychologically inept in one way or another. Doing this by one who is myself, again, legally trained and have been exposing this system for years, and doing so with, again, the corrupt gang members who are the Ontario Police, the Ontario Fire Department, American Medical Response. These are the corrupt state actors who are deemed established by evidence, established gang stalkers. This is exposing the public corruption, the collateral schemes that exist beyond the pattern of conduct itself, which is nothing other than showing how the entity seeks to profit from the demise. And this is why the government is gang stalking American citizens. That's the malice, and that's why you hear no response to a third party who was monitoring, using a communication device and doing so, while their mental instability is what is on display. They are literally pacing around like the demon in 55 above, pacing in and out of the apartment, pacing in helicopter, pacing as a population in engineered light, pacing around the apartment complex. This is not traffic. This is a population that is demon possessed and is witnessing its exposure and their ongoing desperation while they employ in psychological tactics that do not work against the federal prosecutor is exposing their mental instability. Everything you hear in the background is audible activity of a demon who's going to a mental asylum, okay, who has no remorse for conspiring to profit from the murder of the one whom she would like to on the surface and in courts, corrupt courts, like to present herself as a loving mother who's looking out for the best interests. That's called malice, all right? And the body of evidence is already establishing that. And there is corroborating evidence speaking to everything that I am detailing right now, while the people of the state continuously engage in what is impunity while gang stalking. This is, understand, the city of Ontario. That is not in a private space, is a facilitating venue. The city of Ontario engaging in sexual violence, monitoring my genitalia in the shower, monitoring with the people of the state who act with impunity, monitoring with the entity that is remaining unemployed in order to finance such criminal systems, monitoring with those that are doing so across state lines and doing so with impunity. Again, this is Tommy Allen Banks. This is documented in the folder, The People of the State. This is exhibiting the malice that all of those so-called family members exhibit while they've been engaged in the same exact criminal system. And that's exactly why I stated, if you know the third party's name, they are going to federal prison. It is currently 7:13 p.m. This is P.O.C. Let me document the date. It's Monday, December 30th, 2024. This is P.O.C.